Greetings everyone, this is Mike Wright, the Astro Sherpa, dropping in with the special report. We're going into the darkness, so have no fear. The Astro Sherpa's here. So I need you to face your fears. And we're going to talk about Dreamland here. So let's switch this around and we're going to talk about Pluto and the underworld and shadows. By a route obscure and lonely, haunted by ill angels only, where an eidolon named Night on a black throne reigns upright. I have reached these lands but newly, from an ultimate dim Tule, from a wild weird clime that lieth sublime, out of space, out of time. So we are looking at our shadow selves, and this is where we can free ourselves from emotional bondage. What does that take? Illumination in the dark. So we do need to face our fears, and the things that we need to leave behind are emotionally related. So we have to understand these emotions. So look at dependence, moodiness, insecurities causing inactions. Where are you limiting yourself through fear? Where do you isolate yourself? Look at how you respect yourself or lack thereof. How do you control others through your emotional outburst? You know, are you projecting anger and your fear or worries constantly and dragging others' energy levels down? So, do you need approval? Do you need me to look right at you to hear you? That's insecurity. If you are secure in your voice, speech, then you say it and you expect others to hear it. So if you demand their attention, then you are weak. So for us to be free of our shadow self and our emotional securities, we have to develop self-control first. And that's through awareness and understanding of what your self is. You're composed of your physical self, your emotional self, and a mental self. So these are three separate entities. And, you know, in the spiritual world, we can say God the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. But these are all principles of 1, 2, 3. You know, there are many beliefs attached to these principles, but what we're looking at it is from the psychological principle. So when we are goal-oriented and we respect ourselves and our choices because we've learned through experience and gained wisdom that knowledge is a two-edged sword. It can be used in two ways. It can be deceptive or receptive, you know, protecting. So we have to learn to let go of the past and the fears of the past. We need to learn to accept our successes and relate to others as individuals so that we can create win-win circumstances. We do need to seek friendships with other cultures. So when we're strongly identified with a particular nation, culture, whatever, then you are closed down to higher potentials. So this is a time for us to share unconventional ideas because Pluto, this dark underworld ruling aspect, is asking us to really acknowledge our repressed aspects of personalities, you know, our personality that was rejected, that we thought shouldn't come into the light. But this is what we bury, and it becomes a blindness that others see clearly, and you attract it in the relationships you bring in towards you that make you suffer. And it's through suffering that we finally become aware of our transcendental potential. That means transformation from one plane of existence to another. And that is, we are leaving the third dimension understanding in our day-to-day existence. So we're dissolving that which we were controlled by artificially, 1 through 12 divided in half. So 1 to 6, 6 to 12, and then that was 1/2 the day, and then we have the same cycle at night. So it is light that illuminates the darkness, but light was contained in the darkness in the beginning. So it was the intellectual mind that breathed life onto the waters. So the waters are our dark emotions. And this is what this huge process we've been through with the Scorpio Taurus eclipse of what do we hold on to and retain, and what must we release and let go of. So it's an ugly, ugly process. But when we judge others, or we're projecting and saying these things onto others, it's a clear flaw in our own crystallized projection of light. We're throwing our shadows onto others. So this is where you need to be illuminated and be silent and reflect on your relationships as aspects of your personality that you're becoming aware of. And when you do that, you get emotional freedom. Guess what? Once you get that, your heart literally starts coming in this Christ conscious awareness. You become a creator. That is the gift of illumination. But we all fall into darkness because we love misery. And guess what? Misery loves company. So there's a lot of shadows out there, but shadows have no power unless you empower it. So, we are going to go into this huge wave of energy that's going to transform control, sharing. Like, I'll give you an example. The whole Netflix password sharing thing, that's going to come to an end, and people are going to rebel and revolt, and they should, because that industry has dominated and been a monopoly on entertainment, as well as these big structures, which you'll see this on. They control and manipulate the flow of information now. So we are literally fighting an artificial entity to express ourselves and our emotions in this current world. So the revolution will be, how do we free ourselves outside of the WWW 2.0, which is, we're seeing the war of all against all. So this is where we're expanding out of the darkness back into the light, so we can all move forward into this new world. So we're getting ready to see this big change. So I hope you're ready. You need to learn your emotional cycle, and we do that by following the moon. See where the moon is? It's just leaving Taurus, which is power in the physical body. So now we're coming into Gemini. This is where we learn. So as you listen to this, that moon hitting Mars will give us this stable new ego direction, but we have to purify the mind. So I hope everybody's focused and ready, because transformation's coming whether you're ready or not. Hope everybody's well. Astro Sherpa out.